In 2018, Alabama's Department of Transportation expanded and elevated a highway near the Black community of Shiloh in Elba, which residents say now causes regular flooding during rain events. The Biden administration launched a federal civil rights investigation to examine charges of environmental racism. Now, as Donald Trump gets ready to take office, one of Elba's own, who has been sounding the alarm for proper compensation of Shiloh's families, is calling on Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg to take action before it's too late. Dr. Robert Bullard is my guest. He's often called the father of environmental justice. He's the author of 18 books on environmental justice, sustainability, climate, and more, and founding director of the Bullard Center for Environmental and Climate Justice and distinguished professor of urban planning and environmental policy at Texas Southern University. He's from Elba, Alabama. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. Well, first explain to us what was done. I said it very briefly. There was a highway that was elevated, and as a consequence of that, families living in the area, predominantly Black families, have had constant flooding and I imagine quite deep damage to their homes. Is that accurate?
That's correct. What happened is that this is a small rural community of homeowners, property owners, like my family, has been owning land in the general area since Reconstruction, since the 1870s. So the highway was expanded from 2 lanes to 4 lanes and elevated more than 10 feet. And that elevation placed the community, which was level with, basically flat land, and put the community in a bowl. And since 2018, this community has flooded. So 6 years of flooding, and it's created tremendous hardship on families in terms of their homes sinking into the mud, their septic systems overflowing, backing up into their homes. And so this is a major problem and a challenge. And in 2022, the 3 residents in the community filed a Title VI civil rights complaint with the Federal Highways Administration. It took 2 years for them to come to a settlement, and the settlement was to fix the highway, but not fix the community in terms of damaged homes and damaged property. And we say that's unjust. And so even though this highway was built on in 2018 under the USDOT Trump administration, we say that to the Biden-Harris administration and Secretary Pete, this injustice should be corrected, not just fixing a highway that was built by the Alabama DOT, but also make sure that there's compensation, damages for losses and homes and all of that. So that's what we're saying should happen before they leave office. This current administration leaves office.
So the highway was elevated, I understand, in order to prevent it from flooding. And of course, when you elevate part of the land, it just pushes the water to the part that's lower elevation. And so every time there's rain, it doesn't get a chance to sink into the ground. It floods and people's homes are being damaged. And it's a predominantly Black community, which you would imagine is very much par for the course. You wouldn't see this sort of thing happening in a wealthy community, or if it did, there would be immediate steps often to remedy it, right?
That's correct. There's nowhere along that stretch of this new highway that was built with public dollars, tax dollars. And some of the residents who live in that neighborhood, some of their tax dollars was used to flood them out. This the only place where this happens along US 84 is this Black community. And if you look at the elevation, it's not rocket science. It's the law of gravity. When you elevate a highway and you turn the stormwater sewers onto the community, you get a result of flooding. And the Alabama Department of Transportation knew when they built this highway that it would flood. Even the documents in their environmental sign impact statements and reports show that this community would would flood, and no type of offers of compensation or buyouts, relocation was offered. They just said, we're going to drown you, or you just somehow uh, deal with it, live with it. And so we were able to get Secretary Pete Buttigieg to come to Shiloh in April of this year, and he walked the grounds, and he promised the community that he would give them justice, that they would get the make the community whole in terms of the damages and the losses, and but that has not happened. And what we say is that it would be a shameful act if Pete Buttigieg leaves out of USDOT and goes and takes another job or wherever he goes, and his legacy will be he let Black people drown, he let their homes sink into the mud, and so what we're saying, we'll have less than 2 months for this to be corrected, to be made right, and it's the just thing to do, and we want to see this happen in a way that does not leave this community that in many cases their relatives survived slavery, Jim Crow segregation. They survived all kinds of bad situation in the economy, but to see their inheritance washed away by a flawed highway that was built with tax dollars, that is not right. That is not just. And we say we want this corrected now.